Welcome to Reality Creative Video. I'm Hermes, and today I'm going to talk about why colloidals. What is so special about colloidals that I go on and on about this and we create these things, and why do they work so effectively? For those of you that have taken the colloidals, you know your life is never going to be the same ever again. So let's talk a bit about that. I have a beaker here, and actually I am cooking titanium today. So I'm going to get that started right now. I'm going to put in my titanium cathode, and we're going to hook that up to the power supply. And this is my carbon anode. Any one of these guys will do. Let's use that one. Put him in there. Going to hook him up to the power supply. And through the magic of electrolysis, we're going to put electrons are going to flow from the anode, this carbon rod, to the cathode, which in this case is titanium. And it's going to blast the titanium off of the rod. And then what's going to happen is they're going to be attracted to the anode. Now, when they're attracted to the anode and they go into this solution, which is rich in electrons, they're minus 2 electrons when they come off this titanium rod. And hopefully, which happens most of the time, before it gets to this anode, it picks up the 2 electrons it needs, and it becomes neutral. And then something weird happens. It becomes quantum. Thing called van der Waals forces gets in there. And it can no longer be attracted to the anode. And it becomes what's called a free-floating nanoparticle, trapped in the solution forever. But it has all the properties of whatever it is, that metal that's been in it. It's not dissolved in the liquid like an ionic solution would be. It's actually floating there, and that makes the big difference in how things work in the body. Now, with ionic solutions, and these are things like the vitamins that you take. You take a zinc supplement or any of your vitamins. They're all what we call ionic properties, and they're ions. They go into your body, and they're already, your body has to first of all has to break them down and dissolve them in your stomach, which in itself destroys a lot of the nutritional value in whatever it is you're taking. And then what happens is they're charged particles. And this is where, you can build up a toxic amount of these things in your body. Because it's charged, it's attracted to the tissue in your body. And you might think this is a good thing, but it's actually not a good thing because it goes everywhere in your body. It floods your entire body with whatever it is that you're taking. And that's good if you need the nutrients. It's not so good if you don't need the nutrients. And the problem with charged particles in the body is that if your body needs it, it has to dismantle this charge in order to use it. And that limits what the amount of nutrients that you're going to get from an ionic solution. So, enter colloidals. Now, colloidals do things differently. Because they don't carry a charge, they are suspended in the liquid in your body. And if the body needs that particular nutrient, say in this case we're making titanium, so say it needs titanium. Titanium's great for electrical conductivity, brain activity. It's also good for strength, muscle training, and things like that because it increases the electrical properties in the muscles. So let's say you're working out, you're doing muscles. Your muscles are looking for more additional electrical conductivity because you're building up that the lactanic acid and it's desiring more nutrients and more electrical conductivity. Well, if you have these nutrients, these titanium nanoparticles floating around in you, it sees them and says, oh, this is a food source. I can use this. And because there's no charge on these particles, it just eats it up, absorbs it into the cell that it needs, and it becomes bioavailable to the muscle or the joint or whatever it is that's working. And that's how all the colloidals work. Now, if what happens is you don't need those colloidals, they pass right out when you go, in your urine. They'll just come right out. And there's no toxicity built up in the body because of colloidals, because they don't have a charge. They're not attracted to the tissue in your body. And the only reason that they're absorbed is if they're needed. And when they're absorbed at 100% potency, not like 20%, 10 or 15 or 20% potency that an ionic substance. And then you don't have to worry about flooding your entire body with this substance that could build up to toxic levels. There's a magic in colloidals that's not completely understood, and I will be the first to say that, because these colloidal nanoparticles are far more effective than they should be on paper. So there's things we don't understand as far as the body is concerned in absorbing colloidals and using colloidals. But they're extremely robust when you take them. The changes are immediate and unbelievable when you have them, which is why my health is, and the health of my family and friends, that since we're all on colloidals, it's unbelievable. I mean, I just can't say enough about it. The things that's changed. So that's the main reason for colloidals. Now, you might think colloidals is something new, but it's not. Colloidals exist in nature. You know when you have a lightning strike and it comes down, hits the ground, and goes into the groundwater? Well, you want to know something? That creates colloidals. I mean, you may think it's funny, if you've watched my other videos, I'm going to be building a high voltage AC 10,000 volt colloidal generator. But that's how nature does it. Nature uses that 50,000 or million volts of electricity in a lightning strike to melt the colloidals right into the groundwater. And so colloidals is something that we've had for millions of years. However long man has walked the face of the earth and has drank the liquid. What has changed is the chemical processing of our water. We get our water now. A lot of times we get bottled water, which you don't know what kind of processing has come through. Or if you've got city water, chlorine will destroy colloidals. It just makes them explode. If you want to see what a picture of what exploding colloidals looks like, I'll show you right here, because sometimes if I add too much NaCl, sodium, salt, it has chlorine atoms to it. If I add too much NaCl, it will actually cause the colloidals to just keep exploding, and they're not colloidals anymore. So you can see that in action right there on live video on some of my failed colloidal attempts. And so there are other things that will attack colloidals as well. And our industrialized world, our water is not filled with colloidals anymore. So we're not getting the natural infusion of these metals in our body that our body desperately needs. It doesn't need toxic levels of it, but the colloidals take care of that because they're suspended in the water, and they don't sit in the tissue of your body. They pass through your body, and if your body needs it, it takes what it needs. But because there's very little colloidals in the drinking water these days, now we have all sorts of health issues. So a lot of health issues can be solved by various colloidals. And that's why I make various different colloidals, at least the important ones, and some of the little ones too I'm making too. So my latest one is platinum, as you know, and I'm going to be releasing the part 2 of the platinum video on making this. And that'll be coming this week. So that is why we use colloidals. That's why they're important for the body. That's why they work so well. I'm Hermes. This is Reality Creative Video, and I will talk to you again soon.